Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or as we like to say here at Shady Acres Woodshop, howdy! Today we have a piece of Fruitless Mulberry. This comes to us from our friend Tuffy Marginez. I've been looking at this piece for a couple of days, trying to determine what's the top and what's the bottom. And this would be the top. Kind of looks like a maple leaf or something, doesn't it? And this would be the bottom, if we were going to make a bowl. But maybe we're not going to make a bowl. This piece is roughly 9 inches square and about 4.5 inches thick. And I think we're going to turn it like this way. We're going to make a vase. I think that's what we're going to do. Or a hollow form. Probably not a hollow form. Probably a vase. This will be the bottom. Since I determined that, I'm still trying to decide then what. I think what I'm going to do is take this, if you look at this, that looks real nice full side. And then if you look at this side, not quite so full. We've got this piece sticking out here. So I think what I'm going to do is take this over to the bandsaw, lay it down, cut that off, cut that side off to where it's not quite flush, but close. Then I think I'm going to take it and set it on my stationary sander, belt sander, and smooth out this side and smooth out this side. I think my belt's only 120 grit, so it's not going to be a final finish, but it'll give me a good head start on sanding it once it's on the lathe. And then I think I'm going to turn it between centers. I think that's going to be the drive center end. This will be the live center end. I just haven't quite figured it all out yet, but let me do a little preparation and we'll get over here to the lathe and figure it out further. Stand by. I've done my trimming. The piece is now about 8 inches square. My intention, if I didn't mention it, but I probably did when I said I was going to sand these, which I did do lightly. I just lightly sanded them. My intention is to leave these flat sides, these two flat sides, and I intend to round up the others. Two sides. So a lot of this bark's going to go away, but there's going to be a lot of nature and bark on the top of the piece. Maybe in this area, I'm not sure. Anyway, so we're going to be spinning at about 700 RPM, a little over 700 RPM, 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask and face shield on. Maybe I'll stop there and work on this corner. Time for sanding. I'm going to start the sanding now with my Sandoflex. I'm going to sand all the bark and all the voids and whatnot that I can reach from here. Some of it will probably have to be sanded from the top side. And I'll show you how that's going to work. And then I'm going to switch to my 2-inch sanding disc and I'll just sand this part and this part as it's spinning. So let me get my mask on and I'll show you how that's all going to work. So that should be okay, no issues. And then with the lathe spinning in reverse at about 350. And that's going to be easy peasy. So I'm glad about that. I'm starting 80 grit with this, 180 grit with the Sandoflex. And I'll work up through 400 grit and I'll bring you back when it's time to put some finish on here. Well, I finished the sanding, but I'm not going to put the finish on now. I'm going to put it on all at once, inside and out, top and bottom, whatever, all at one time. I also sanded these sides up to 400, and I'll tell you, this whole thing is just silky smooth. It just feels so nice, and it looks pretty cool. So let's see if we can get it off of that woodworm screw. And we'll get it flipped around and get the tenon up in the chuck jaws. Okay, I'm going to hollow this out by using a Forstner bit. This is a 2.5-inch bit. It's going to run off of the top wonderful side here into this gap somewhat, not much, about 1/4 of an inch. It also may come into this hole down here. I don't know if you can see it, but that's a hole that goes in there quite a ways. So we might have light showing through there. I don't know. That's not important to me. I don't care for a second. The lathe is going to be spinning at about 300 RPM, and we'll just see what happens. So that's what it's going to look like. I'm going to stop often to let it cool down, and I probably will have to add an extension to this bit so that I can get all the way to the bottom. I'll bring you back when I'm about done. Well, I'm sorry if I didn't show you enough of that drilling. I meant to bring you back a little sooner, but it went so easily that I just got done before I knew I was done. I'm drilled to within about 3/4 of an inch of the bottom, and then of course I have that recess in the bottom that comes up, I don't know, 1/4 inch or so. So I've got about a 1/2 inch thick bottom, and that's good. So now I'm going to kind of open up this mouth a little bit. I actually intended to drill larger than that, but it looks about right to me by the time I open up the mouth a little bit and do a little cleanup inside here. Although it's just about polished. It feels really nice in there. So that Forstner bit did a great job. So let me get my mask and face shield on, and we'll start opening up the mouth a little bit and see what it looks like. I'm not sure if I want to round over this lip, come in from the outside as well as the inside. I kind of think maybe I do, rather than have a flat top here. There's not many places that have a flat top, just those two. Yeah, I think I'll round over that outside. Yep, that's better. Well, I kind of feel like we're done. Boy, this is pretty wood. Tuffy, this is pretty wood, and it works so nice. It turns so nice. Fruitless Mulberry. Yeah, I don't see what else I can do to it. It looks good to me. Time for sanding. I'll use the Sandoflex like that at 180 grit, and then I'll take my 2-inch disc sander and resand this top part because I messed it up a little bit as I was rounding this over. So I'll resand the top inch or so of that. That's about it. And I'll bring you back when it's time to put some finish on here. Boy, we're just about done. Oh, I gotta show you something. Remember way back at the beginning when I was gonna trim up some, I can't even remember what they were, protrusions or something? I think this piece came off the bottom. Look at that. Is that a chicken? A bird? What about over here? Definitely a bird this way. With a bark leg. I'm digging it. I'm keeping this piece. I like it. Tell me, is it a chicken or some kind of bird or what? Standing there on one leg. Pretty cool. See you in a bit. The hum you hear is my heater going right here next to me because it's cold outside. It's even colder inside where I am. It's 38 degrees here inside the shop. Outside it's about 43. It takes a while for the inside of the shop to warm up if I leave the doors open. Let some of that 43 degree temperature get in here. I'm applying Howard Feed and Wax, partly because of that temperature. Mostly because it's good stuff and it works good and it really, really brings out the grain. And I'm applying it with a brush rather than a rag today. And I'm going to address something about the Howard Feed and Wax that I keep getting asked. Let's take care of that. This is my old bottle. This is my new bottle. And the question keeps coming up, what do I thin this with? Because when you, the viewer, goes out and buys some, you're a little surprised that it's so thick. And you can see the little bit of space here in the top. If I shake this up, you still see a space in the top. That's because it doesn't shake. You shake it really, really, really good. And you put it here in front of the heater, and pretty soon it starts to shake a little. It's just the way it is. I do not thin this stuff. When it's brand new in a bottle like this, it's thick. It's just super thick. And I think you have to get down about 2 inches before it starts to seem thinner. When it's cold outside like this, I have set it in front of my little heater and let it warm up and thin out, and that helps. But it's just, when you buy it, it's just thick, that's all. I don't thin it. I don't recommend thinning it. I don't believe they recommend thinning it. I'm not an expert on it. I'm just a consumer like you. I'm just telling you my experiences. It's thick. It's hard to get out of here. If you take this cap off and try and squeeze it out, it comes out super slow. It's thick, that's all. But it's not thick after it's been used some and after you shake it up. So just something to be aware of. I don't know any magic about it except just go ahead and use it. So as I said, I'm using this partly because of the cold temperature, and I do use this more in the winter time than maybe I do in the summertime. So winter's coming, and so is even colder temperatures, and my shop is not heated except for this little tiny electric heater I have sitting here right next to me. And that's one of the reasons I became a wood turner, because instead of moving throughout the whole big shop in the wintertime, I can just stand in one place in front of this heater and do my thing. So that might be an odd reason to become a wood turner, but it worked. I'll bring you back here in just a little bit when it's time to turn this around and remove that tenon. See you in a bit. Okay, the finish is dry and buffed, and let's get it mounted up here. I've got a block of wood in my chuck. It's got a non-slip surface on it. I'm just going to slip the piece over that and bring up my tailstock. I still have the center hole there for reference, so I can just drive the live center into that and bring up my tool rest. And we'll spin this up a little bit. I'll put my thumbnail here against the tenon and see if it's hitting equally all the way around. I pronounce it good enough. I'm going to take this 3/8 inch standard grind bowl gouge and commence to removing that tenon at 600 RPM. I just want to check for clearance. Just barely there, still too high right in the middle, but the rest of it's good. I'm going to get in here a little bit closer with my tool rest. See how that's looking? We're good. All we have to do is cut it off. I just want to get in there a little bit tighter than I am. Now I'm going to take a 3/8 inch swept-back bowl gouge so that I can get in there real tight and close and finish this cut. And I'm going to readjust my tool rest so that I'm even closer. And I'm going to slow the speed down to about 400 RPM and just keep working it away. Now I'm going to slow it down to 200 RPM and I'm going to apply the bevel of the gouge against the bottom of the bowl. Right hand on the gouge, left hand on the switch, and when the little nub stops turning like that, we'll know we're through. And we are, because it did. Then I can just take this over here to the workbench, sand it up, sign it, get it finished, and I'll be right back. Well, here it is, one Mulberry Vase in the books. Kind of looks like marble, and it feels like marble. It's very smooth and very heavy because I left the wall thickness pretty thick, and that was in order to keep so much of the nature in there. Isn't that beautiful? And there's the bottom all finished up, and guess what? I called it Manzanita. I knew it started with an M. I think I have that Manzanita cracked bowl on my mind. That was something. I don't think I'll ever get over that. I'll see if I can't erase it. I don't know what I can do. I'll see if I can correct it to Mulberry, not Manzanita. Sheesh, Phil. I tell you, getting old. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that yellow color. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I just love it. I just love it. I hope you do. Thank you, Tuffy Marginez, for sending this along for all to enjoy. If you like this video, thumbs up, please. I'd sure appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, thank you very kindly. I truly appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, you might consider becoming one. I put out regular videos about one a week, and I'd like to keep in touch. An easy way to subscribe is just click on my picture you see there near the end of the video. Your comments are always welcome, and I read every single one of them. So for now, this is Phil, Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.